Good morning. We're here to propose a revolutionary new market for energy in Judea and Samaria. The foundation of all economic activity is a market to buy and sell goods and services. The foundation of a modern economy is energy, in the form of electricity, mechanical power, and heat. Development of Judea and Samaria is dependent on a robust energy sector, which in turn relies on a market to drive investment. Today, despite the vast renewable energy potential of Judea and Samaria, in the form of wind and solar generation, the exploitation of these resources is extremely low because there is no market to justify the investment. This presentation will illustrate how to create a regional energy market in Judea and Samaria that will drive investment and in turn promote human development, economic growth, and interdependence. During the past decade, we have experienced the transition from centralized to decentralized economies as peer-to-peer transactions conquer diverse markets. Today, some of the largest global companies, eBay, Airbnb, Uber, and Facebook, own zero assets. It is now possible to electronically send money without going through a bank, thanks to Bitcoin. eBay has made it possible for millions to buy and sell products with each other directly. Airbnb is a major force in the hospitality industry and doesn't own a single hotel room. Thanks to Uber, people now use their personal vehicles as taxis. Facebook has turned everyone on the planet into a source of media and marketing. This novel peer-to-peer economy, where consumers deal directly with producers across digital networks, is now coming to the field of energy. New York City has already launched a pilot in the form of the Brooklyn microgrid. This new economic model has major advantages in the form of transparency and efficiency, and is the solution to the future of energy in Judea and Samaria. Before we can discuss the opportunity for a new energy market in Judea and Samaria, it's critical to understand the current political structure of the region. Conventional energy infrastructure depends on a unified political entity to manage the regulatory requirements of regional investments that impact millions of people. In Judea and Samaria, there is not one, but three distinct political regimes, which are each further subdivided into local government organizations. In green, I have labeled Area A, which is fully controlled by the Palestinian Authority. Area A covers the majority of the urban Palestinian population centers, and is subdivided among tribal, municipal, and related entities. In blue, I have labeled Area C, which is fully controlled by the Israeli army, and is subdivided among the Israeli civilian administration, Israeli municipalities, and individual Israeli army bases and regional command groups. Area B, in orange, is under a mixed control, where the Palestinian Authority manages all civil administration, and the Israeli army maintains a permanent presence for security purposes. In order to build a regional gas pipeline, or electricity network, that efficiently links all areas of Judea and Samaria, tight cooperation among all of the political entities I just mentioned is essential. Unfortunately, that is impossible due to the very structure of these organizations. Each regime has its own unique decision-making procedures that often conflict with the others. Thus, despite the fact that the region boasts a market of more than 2 million people that need energy and enormous potential for wind and solar electricity generation, actual investment is virtually zero due to the lack of the physical and regulatory infrastructure required to tap into this opportunity. There are three novel innovations that have been deployed globally in the past decade that we will utilize here to create a new energy market in Judea and Samaria. They're number 1, distributed energy, number 2, energy storage, and number 3, blockchain payments. Distributed energy is the ability to produce electricity, fuel, or heat from solar, wind, or other resources locally where it is used, as opposed to at a central power plant that relies on a regional distribution grid. Thanks to solar panels and wind turbines, it is possible to produce electricity on the roof of your house with ease. Judea and Samaria is flush with wind and solar energy. I live in Samaria, a town of 3,000 people overlooking the Palestinian village of Asmun, and we are blessed with 8 months of unbroken sunshine per year and an average wind speed of more than 30 kilometers per hour. We could easily produce all of our energy needs locally with the right investment. Energy storage is the ability to take the electricity that is produced from a solar panel or wind turbine and use it later when it's cloudy. There are many different ways to store electricity. The most common way to do this today is with batteries. And if Elon Musk has his way, every car in the world will have one. But there are limitations. Batteries are heavy, large, and lose their charge over time. They're not a solution for every application. Another way to store electricity is to produce fuel. In this case, methane natural gas. When you turn the key in the ignition to your car, the spark ignites the fuel in the tank and releases all of the chemical energy in the fuel to drive your car. That same fuel can be burned to drive a generator to produce electricity or energy for any other application where it's needed. We will produce natural gas from solar and wind electricity and put that gas in portable containers that can be used for any application, from cooking to cars to electricity. This process is called power-to-gas technology and has been used for more than 100 years. The gas never gets old, it can be stored forever, and it is extremely light and compact when compared with a battery. Now that we have distributed energy to produce electricity and power-to-gas technology to store our distributed energy in gas containers, the next step in unlocking the potential of these innovations is a market. We need a method of buying and selling the gas in the containers. This is where the blockchain payment system ties all the pieces together. A blockchain is a distributed ledger of transactions stored across millions of geographically isolated computers. The distributed ledger records transactions of a custom token or digital currency that is bought and sold directly by holders of the currency. There is no intermediary for transactions. Each token has a unique code that records who its owner is, and whenever the owner sells the token's code registers the change in ownership. That is then verified by the majority of computers storing the ledger or blockchain. In this way, it is impossible for anyone to tamper with the legitimacy of the transaction. All transactions are 100% transparent to everyone else. And at the same time, there is 100% anonymity, because the only ownership information stored on each token is the unique wallet code of the owner. No personal information is ever recorded. With a blockchain payment system in place, each gas container will be equipped with a smart meter that will record when the gas container is filled or drained, and with automatic debit and crediting of the wallet of the person using the container on the blockchain. As a result of this structure, it will be possible for me to fill a gas container using electricity from solar panels on my house in Samaria, and then sell that gas to my neighbor in Azmut. I will simply fill the container and then drop it off at the junction between Samaria and Azmut. And then my neighbor will take the container and start using the gas I produced. We will never know each other, but we will conduct business together on a constant basis. The creation of a regional market in this manner, that is open to everyone living in Judea and Samaria, will provide the scale needed to justify investments and growth. The deployment of distributed energy, coupled with power-to-gas energy storage, will change the map of Judea and Samaria. All towns and residents will be able to benefit from investment in distributed energy systems driven by the creation of a single unified market. Gas containers will be dropped off next to regional transportation hubs, such as Tepuach and Ariel Junction, to be either filled or drained. Political involvement will be limited to its current level in these areas of simply providing for civic order. No additional laws, regulations, or agreements need to be initiated internally or between the various governmental organizations in the region. A direct, peer-to-peer energy market will solve the current investment dead end and pave the road for economic growth, reaching more than $5 billion in annual energy production. The blockchain market will tie together the communities of Judea and Samaria by not only as a means of purchasing and selling, but also for investments. The anonymity of the blockchain means that any one individual or group of individuals can pool the resources to purchase distributed energy equipment, such as wind and solar panels, and share the profits from selling the energy in this new market. Thus, my neighbors in Azmut can not only purchase energy from my solar panels, they can even invest in and profit from the solar panels on my house. I will be able to simply post a project up on the market soliciting tokens to buy hardware, and anyone in the market can invest to profit from the equipment once it's operating. The anonymity, transparency, and finality of all transactions will provide the key elements for investor confidence. The residents of Judea and Samaria will start to invest their savings locally instead of in ventures further afield, and economic growth will accelerate. Our team at Microgrid Israel and Ariel University is uniquely poised to launch this venture. Microgrid Israel is one of the most experienced developers of distributed generation assets in Israel. Ariel University is the only university in Judea and Samaria that includes Israelis and Palestinians in its student body of more than 15,000 enrolled, with a well-established engineering faculty, as well as a diverse array of social science departments in economics, psychology, sociology, and more. Ariel University brings the full suite of skills needed to secure success. Our core team includes Professor Gadi Golan, Professor of Electrical Engineering at Ariel University, Amos Lasker, the former CEO of the Israel Electric Corporation, Elad Shaviv, the CEO of the Israeli Smart Energy Association, and myself, Natan Shachar, with more than 10 years of hands-on experience in the design, execution, and development of energy efficiency and distributed energy projects in New York City and in Israel. The next step to make this revolution a reality is a $300,000 investment to complete a technical pilot at Ariel University in the next 12 months that will demonstrate all of the key technologies that are needed to make the system a success. This will be followed by a $2 million investment for a limited commercial launch of the system in 2021 to include all of Ariel, the Barkan Industrial Zone, and the surrounding villages of Salfit, Marda, and Haris. Completion of the limited commercial launch will be followed by a regional launch of the new energy market in 2022 that will provide multiple opportunities for investing in projects throughout Judea and Samaria. Thank you so much for your attention and focus. I look forward to working with you on this project.